she just lied down on the table, and what do we notice?
She's crooked.
She's crooked, right? So she's a little bit off to the side here. So that tells us what? That she's probably got some tightness and is compensating. Her body is subconsciously compensating and leaning over to the side to unload the spot that is tight on her. So for now, because we're going to work on her, we're going to make her go back to the middle. So we talked about this a little earlier. So in order to get her to the middle, because she doesn't know where it is, so I'm going to guide her. I'm going to come right to the center and I'm going to say, let's slide you over to the middle of the table. Good. And now she's in the middle of the table. Okay? So does that feel uncomfortable for you to be like that?
That's okay.
It's okay, but it's not
Great.
ideal, right? It's not great. So the other thing that we're talking about is why to use a bolster or why to use a pillow. So now that she's in the center, we can look at her ankles and see how there's a little space here, under here? So for me, I'm gonna want to make sure that this is comfortable for her. And it might seem okay now. You have to remember, we're getting ready to dig in on all of this. So if I'm gonna be pressing down here, I don't want for her ankles to be uncomfortable when I press down. Even though it's okay right now, when I press down, I don't want this to put too much pressure on her ankle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move that for her and then there. So see what I did? I didn't, I'm gonna do it again so you can see, because I'm not gonna tell her, oh, go ahead and bend your knees so I can put this under your ankles, because that's gonna make her use too much of her back muscles. So usually what I do is I do it for them if I can. So I lift them up, put this underneath, and then load that back down. So here, now, look what happens. See how there's push here, right? She's got push in here. So when I press down on this, I'm not jabbing her toes down into the table.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be still comfortable for her. So the other thing that we were talking about is why someone might need a pillow under their hips when they're face down on the table. And sometimes you'll notice people have a little sway in their back. So maybe gymnasts or dancers or whoever might have too much of a sway in their back. And what happens is it tilts their hips this direction. So if I was to push down, yeah, see? So if I push down here, imagine the vertebrae, right, are here, are gonna scrunch together, right? They're here, and they're gonna go, so they're pressing in on itself, and we don't want that. So what I would do is use a pillow under her hips. So this time I'm gonna make her do it, because I'm not gonna lift her up underneath.
Oops.
So go ahead and lift her hips. Down, I'm gonna slide it a little bit, go ahead. Okay, so now, so look, you can actually see it already, where she had a little sway in her hip. Now this kind of opens it up.
It's a little flatter.
We've just opened this enough so that when I press down on her, she's not going to compress her vertebrae in together, right? And she's still straight on the table. So good. Any questions about that?
But the pillow's gonna depend on the client.
Exactly. So not everybody needs a pillow,
Yeah.
and maybe somebody might need a bigger pillow. Somebody might need just a little cushion. Sometimes I don't even use it because this is kind of a big pillow. Sometimes I might even just take a towel and roll up a towel and put one under each hip a little bit, and then it's just got a tiny little bit of a raise to it. And sometimes that's enough. But in her case, I definitely would use a pillow. So thank you. That was a good question. Anybody else? Yeah? Okay. I think that's enough.